Now, coming to the second part of trade theory, we discussed some of the fundamental attributes which are very important for the leaders according to the trade theory. Uh, Another very important attribute or trait, we will discuss this later on in the change management, but certainly it's emotional intelligence is concerned with our ability to understand emotions and apply this understanding to life's tasks. So this is not only understanding your personal emotions, but rather the emotions of others, and then making use of these emotions in a very positive and intelligent way, so that it cannot create any disrespect and disloyalty. So emotional intelligence can be defined as the ability to perceive and express emotions, to use emotion to facilitate thinking, understand and reason with emotions, and to effectively manage emotion within oneself and in relationship with others. As a leadership ability or trait, emotional intelligence appears to be an important construct. The underlying premise suggested by this framework is that people who are more intensive to their emotions and the impact of their emotions on others will leaders who are more effective. As more research is conducted on emotional intelligence, the intricacies of how emotional intelligence relates to leadership will be better understood in times to come. This is certainly in a emerging area where the emotional quotient is more considered to be important for the leaders in addition to the intelligence quotient. So, the 21st century leadership is more emphasized on EQ, which is emotional quotients, rather than the intelligence quotient. Now, the straight theory is some strengths. For example, it's appealing that if a person is not having inborn qualities, inborn innate qualities, then definitely he or she can't be a leader by virtue of the role or by virtue of the position he or she holds. Second is that it has century of research. If we just look at almost 8 or 9 decades has passed, and there is a lot of starting with Stoke, Dell, and others. So there is a broad and deep research literature review available to define these greatest theories. The trait approach highlights the leader components in the leadership process. Leadership is composed of leaders, followers, and situations, but the trait approach is devoted to only the first of these, and that is leaders. So certainly, it places a lot of emphasis on the leader themselves. It identified what traits should have a, and whether the traits do we do have is the best trait for the leadership. So this is based on the research for almost 100 years now. We can identify the set of attributes and the set of characteristics which can make the leaders one of the top leaders of the world. Now, at the same time, there is high criticism on this theory because the management researchers believe that the leadership is not a one-way process. Rather, there is interactions between the followers and leaders, and there is a process. Therefore, the first and the foremost criticism is that there is a very long list of traits which may not be possible for one person to hold. And the second criticism is that it does not take into account the situation and circumstances in which the leaderships develop. For example, if a leader is inheriting a very difficult situations in which the organization is faced with the quality issues, with the customer satisfaction issues, with the financial problems, then definitely it's a different situation as compared to another leader who has acquired a relatively comfortable situation. So certainly the organization's situations and the ground relatives also see that how these traits are tradable. The third is that this is highly subjective because it has a very less emphasis on the situation and more emphasis on the leadership traits. It is also criticized for looking at the trait in relationship to leadership outcomes. So it's not always the case that every leadership or every leader would be successful. So the outcomes are also very important. Uh, and there has been a great problems with us there. Most of the time, we see that people are very good, very honest, but unfortunately, they don't have the desired outcomes. And many times, I call it honesty syndrome in countries like Pakistan, where we have the people who are very honest and of high integrity, but unfortunately, they don't believe to deliver and to come to the expectations of their followers. So the outcomes are also very important. And the final criticism is that not a useful approach for training and development for leadership, because once we believe that these traits are inborn and innate, then definitely we can't develop the individuals for these traits. So it is definitely against the human nature. This is a case study, and I leave it to you that how the new director for a research organization has been selected, and I would suggest that you go through it and see how this uh, has been done as a leader. So thank you very much. I think this was enough for today. A second part of the trade theory, and what we believe that trade theory is though now also applicable to some extent, because we can identify some traits which are really very important for the leaders. But in the changing circumstances and the complex organizational situations in 21st century, we believe that only traits are not sufficient to be a good leader. You need to have your development, you need to have your empathy, you need to have the relationship and the understanding the interactions between the task, the outcomes, and also the followers. So thank you very much and have a nice time.